I'm shook. Would you like to take a look at my cook kit? Why do I use the one I use? Why do you use the one that you use? I've been rethinking mine. Let's take a look at it and see if it's changed at all, and I'll guarantee you it probably hasn't. Look, you see! The cook kit really hasn't changed, and the last time I did a video on this officially was 2011. My pot. This is the 12 cm Imusa pot. I call mine the hillbilly pot because it's just bent up and it's been put in fires, and I love this pot. I got a lid with it that I got from, I think it's from Tinny Mini Bull Designs. I got this lid from there. Fits pretty good. Thing about this pot is it's aluminum, and you can kind of notice that the edges are a little bent up and everything, and I'm constantly straightening it back up. It's a soft pot. I've stepped on it. It will bend in your pack. That's why in my ohm I like that little side pocket. Keeps it from bending. Main reason I like a pot this big is because I'm usually cooking a pretty big meal, like just for instance the Packet Gourmet Texas State Fair chili takes 12 ounces of water. So I'll put 12 ounces in there, which is a little less than 2 cups. And that, you know, gives me some room to boil that water, add this meal, which then displaces some of that water so it rises up in the pot, and then it swells up. And it gives me a little bit of room to eat. And I'm a guy that likes to eat my meal out of my cook pot. I don't really like eating out of a bag. I blame that on my mother. Even when she served potato chips, she would yell at us if we ate them out of the bag. They had to be poured into a bowl. She considered it uncouth, and it's just in my DNA, and I just really prefer to eat out of my pot once it's warmed. I have my cozy right there, and I got my cozy, and I'm holding my pot, and I just prefer to eat like this and scrape the sides and make that sound a lot. A lot of people like eating out of the bag. If you eat out of the bag, then you pour your water into the bag and you put it into some sort of a cozy. And what that does, you can put it in there and it keeps your water really hot while your meal kind of rehydrates. So, in general, I like a big pot to eat out of, which explains why I like the 12 cm Imusa pot, which is pretty close to 4 cups. You know, if we look at a Foster's mug here, which is about 3 1/4 across, you know, you can kind of see that this big Imusa pot is pretty wide. I'll substitute sometimes with this Snow Peak titanium pot. I think it's a Snow Peak 900, and it is basically pretty much the same size as that pot right there. And it won't bend because it's titanium. It's kind of hard to bend it. So the Imusa pot just by itself is 3.4 ounces. And the Snow Peak titanium pot is 3.7 ounces. Hillbilly pot in grams, 98 grams. Snow Peak titanium pot in grams, 105 grams. Now is what I call the cozy, or some people call it the koozie, but I think that sounds dirty. So I've got my cozy, which makes a nice little party hat, or a reflective yarmulke. If I put my pot in there after I cook my meal and then I slide this lid right on top, that's what keeps my water hot and my meal rehydrating. And the whole cozy, or koozie, weighs 77 grams or 2.7 ounces. And that is a real important part of my cook kit right there. I have this little piece of foil that I carry. It's a little vapor barrier insulator that I put on the ground before I put my alcohol stove on there. But I always use this. I think it just makes it a little more efficient, but I've always done it, so I still do it. 0.2 ounces or 19 grams. Next is my beloved Foster Pot coffee mug. This came from Tinny at Mini Bull Design years ago. I mean, look how worn down that thing is, and I do scrub it inside, but it's got great coffee stains in there. I like having my coffee or my hot chocolate out of this. Of course, it has its own cozy or koozie as well, and that keeps my coffee warm in the colder weather. But it does have that wicking around the side that I can hold like this and a little rubber silicone band around the edge so I don't burn my lip. Mug weighs 44 grams, 1.6 ounces. The cozy weighs 0.7 ounces. The other nice thing about having this little pot is I can use the cook on too. It works great with the Fancy Feast. But what usually happens is I boil my water for my meal, just enough, whatever it says to, you know, have for that particular meal. Boil it, pour my meal in, put it in my cozy, and then if I need a hot chocolate or something like that while I'm waiting for that, I can still boil it in that. I never have liked drinking my coffee out of this pot. It's just too big. The world goes away. It's ungainly. And the coffee seems to go cold. I like my coffee or my cocoa here. It's couth. I like to crush my strawberries because the ghost of my mother watches me. And of course I keep my little finger out usually while I'm having it. Sometimes I just two-finger it. It's a windscreen. It's a really thin, okay, instead of being a thin metal, it's more like a thick foil. I got it years ago with a white box stove. It's always been my favorite one. It's 18 grams, 0.65 of an ounce, so not even an ounce. And for using an alcohol stove, you gotta have a windscreen for when you set that pot on there for full efficiency, and it fits right down into the hillbilly pot perfectly. Next thing is my Fancy Feast stove. That weighs 0.8 of an ounce, so not even an ounce, 85 grams. So you put that on top of the barrier, put the pot on there, and put the windscreen around that, and of course your lid, and that is the basis of my cook kit. When I'm done with the Fancy Feast after cooking, I keep a little baggie like that. I put it in there, and next in there is just a little piece of cloth I've always used, and what that is for, you know, that's for pulling my pot. That's basically my pot gripper. I just use that right there. 0.04 of an ounce, 35 grams. That and my Fancy Feast go into my Foster pot, and then I just always carry a Bic lighter in there. That's just always a backup lighter. This is a little fuel bottle I've used for years from REI. It's got a flip top. It carries 1 ounce of fuel. That sits in here. My windscreen goes into my hillbilly pot. That all sits in there, which then goes in here, and then my lid goes here, and then I store that right there. But I forgot to take my little vapor barrier, which I always keep right here, and then I put that back in there, and this is basically how my kit sits. And I put it into this little stuff sack I made years and years ago. And that kind of looks just like that whenever I have it put together. And that weighs 344 grams or 12.7 ounces. And that is without the little fuel bottle in there, which normally would be full. Always carry this Lexan spoon. That's part of my cook kit. That I carry in the mesh pocket of my whatever backpack I'm using. I don't carry it in conjunction with my cook kit. I used to carry it slipped down in there. One time in the gorge I had it sitting in there like that, and it snapped the head off my spoon. If you don't know how hard life can be when you don't have a spoon in the backwoods and you got to whittle one or try to eat with a stick. The spoon is 12 grams or 0.04 ounces. One of the meals I like to bring from Packet Gourmet are the miga de sole, or it's the scrambled eggs with the country sausage in it. Diner Deluxe Scramble, that's what it's called. Sometimes I add this, is the lid actually, to the Snow Peak pot when it comes. It's a little lid if you buy that pot. It has a little handle, but I don't find it worth the count. It always falls off on me. So I bring my old aluminum pot gripper, and that I'll use to cook those eggs. And I add that to this cook kit if I know I'm gonna be bringing along those eggs to cook in a little bit of oil. So if I decide to add this lid, it just sort of sits right on top of that like that. I slide this right down where the handle is. I take this bottle of fuel and I put that into my cook kit. Because after I pour off that 1 ounce of fuel into my Fancy Feast stove, I always fill it right back up out of that bottle. It's just always the way I've done it. It's the way I will continue to do it until the day I die. With the small frying pan and with the pot gripper in there, we are looking at 419 grams, 14.7 ounces. But I do like to enjoy a fantastical meal. Do you like my face? This gives good resonance for me today. All secure in Sector 7, woo buddy. Hey, it's Shug here. Hello, I'm Shug. Hello, I'm Shug. Hey, Shug here.
Sloth. Bike.